Method's got it! Unbelievable!
Episode 3 of Lil and Ben. We are 1 from 1 whilst this podcast has been going. Do you think it's a direct correlation, Lil?
I think so. I mean, it's been a great start. It's yeah, I think a lot of it has got to do with the podcast. So yeah, I'll take the win. No, it was an excellent performance. It was a great weekend to get on the road and get a win. So it was
Kick off 2021. We've had 2 good guests on the podcast so far. Maddie Gay was great last week. Eliza McNamara may be hard to top, but we have someone who's going to give it a crack. It is Gabby Colvin. Welcome, Gab.
Thanks for having me.
Now, have you listened to either of the first 2 podcasts? That's the big question.
Yeah, bits and pieces. Yeah. I know you stitched up Maddie Gay with her drone.
Yep.
And then you stitched Eliza McNamara up with her pinkies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, she's done her research.
Yeah, I like
She's
it.
been listening.
I'm a big fan of the podcast.
Well, just wait and see what we've got in store for you. But we're going to start with our 21-point victory over the Suns. So it was a day trip to Gold Coast. How did you find flying in and flying out in the same day?
Oh, to be honest, I thought it was going to be a lot worse. I think the girls handled themselves really well, to be honest. It was a long day. I think I walked out the front door 6:30 a.m. and came back in about 11 o'clock that night. So definitely a long day on game day. But, it was hot up there. It was hotter than what it was down here. But, yeah, a great performance. I think the Suns are really good. I rated them. Did you?
Yeah, the pressure was hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But good day, yeah, as you said, good way to kick off 2021.
We had some debutants. We liked what they provided on field, but I like some of the stuff they give off field. Starting with Eliza McNamara, 'cause she is a media person's dream, really. Everything she does is funny.
Do you reckon she does it for the cameras?
I think she might just do it naturally. I'm hoping that's what happens. But so
I'm somewhere in between with her. Like she's a bit random, but then she's also like
aware.
Ben's got the camera. I'm going to do something silly here.
Yeah.
So just don't give her too much
credit.
Of a big head.
Yeah. Well, we'll start with that moment where she did actually see herself on camera on the big screen and starts just doing the most incredible dance as though it was the first time like a little kid's getting famous, like in the crowd. What was going on?
It's like she'd been spotted in a sea of 100,000 people, and if you get, you're on the big screen, that you're going to win $1,000 gift card. Like, she's
the excitement levels to see herself on the big screen.
She's hilarious.
She's only little, so she's got the excitement levels of a little child.
She is. And
cute.
We spoke about her making coffees a few weeks ago on the podcast. There was a coffee machine. I think you helped out for a while there as well, Gab.
Yeah, we tag teamed.
Yeah, so there was a coffee machine, there was milk, but there was no one making the coffees in this 2-hour wait. So she just jumped over the bar and got going.
Well, it's natural habitat for her.
Yeah.
It was
very
coffee
comfortable.
making. It was a sporting facility. Yeah. It was, her time to prepare and get organised, get us ready. So she took one for the team. Did you have a coffee?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
How'd she make it?
Yeah, pretty good. I actually ended up making my own.
Oh.
Riggs was on there as well.
Was he?
Yeah, he was doing the shots.
Doing.
She was doing the milk. They had a little thing going on.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Alyssa Bannon's one I like as well. Now, on the plane, I just looked up at one point and she's just looking around waving to people. So she was probably, I was at the back 26 A.
You were.
I don't know why. Like media.
Going.
With the peasants.
Keep going. Surely flight 42.
So she was in probably row like 5 or something, and she's just waving, like just waiting for me to look, waving. She's one of the happiest people I've ever met.
She's so happy. One day, she actually said to me, I said, how you feeling? We were actually at Metricon, and she's like, yeah, feeling good. I'm like, how do you feel about the heat? She's like, I thrive in the heat. And I thought she was being sarcastic, and I was like, are you being serious? And she's like, no, I'm being serious. I actually thrive in the heat. And I just thought it was hilarious. I thought she was being sarcastic, but that was just her just being genuinely happy.
The enthusiasm on these 18-year-olds is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
She also must have a lot of friends. I regret posting so many things about her on Instagram because her friends
the
share them to her
reposts.
stories. And she shares them on her stories as well. So
honestly, almost as bad as Tegan reposting all of her girlfriend's stories. Like Bannon is up there with just the
clogged my
repost,
feed.
add to story, add to story, she's loving that button.
She's loving
it's
it.
shocking. In terms of actual footy, so I was sitting behind the interchange bench, and one thing I noticed was you girls run so fast when you're coming off the ground. And I asked one of the people that sort of controls the GPSs after the game, is there a spike? And she said yes. It's when they come off the ground, they run at their peak for the game. Why don't you run that fast during the game?
Well, you have to, because you have to be efficient with your time to get off the bench. I actually got stitched up on the weekend. I'd been on, my rotation was up. It was time to come on, so I sprinted and obviously peak effort for the day, from the back pocket to the bench. Came off, then turned around and Paxi was sprinting off right behind me.
First quarter?
Oh, no.
Nah, third quarter, I think. And she was who was tagging me. So I literally sprinted from back pocket to the thing, come off the ground, stood there for 0.5 of a second, and then I had to go back on because Paxi had come off behind me.
No way.
And then I didn't get a rest again, so I was tired. I was tired.
Oh, GPS data would have looked good, though.
What's that?
GPS data would have looked good.
Real good. Yeah, look strong.
That's
good
what
high
it's all
speed.
about.
Good. It is a good question, though. Why don't we run that quick
Because you
throughout
think
the rest of the game?
if you were trying as hard as you could during the game, you should be pretty tired when you're running off. That's
I
my
guess
observation as
sometimes-
someone who doesn't play nor coach.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't get the chance to, like, the ball just comes to you.
Yeah.
You know, like, only have to go a couple of metres.
That's
But
handy.
it's still tactical, because if you just jog to the bench, it's, it could be a minute by the
Yeah.
time you come off and then someone comes
you're a
back
player
on.
down.
So, and you're a player down for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying, but it still is a vital
A
part
vital
of the
aspect
game
of football.
Yeah.
Running off.
Does that
All
answer
right.
your question?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
It's just an observation.
Yeah, no.
We're going to talk a bit about Gabby Colvin now. So I just want to start with something I mentioned at season launch, the fact that you lost your cat last year.
Yes.
Luckily, we found Twiggy.
We found Twiggy,
Can we just go back and tell the whole story?
Well, she disappeared for like 3 days, which is unlike her.
Yeah.
So it was pretty traumatic for 3 days. I was just, every time I wasn't with anyone, I was just crying. She's like my baby. Anyway, I'm a pretty crazy cat person. I'm just obsessed with them.
Crazy cat person or just crazy in general?
Bit of both.
Yeah,
bit of both. Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
Anyway, she was gone, and it was pretty sad. But after day 3, we were coming home from dinner, and she was just waiting on our doorstep.
What a story.
And there's not much to it, but I was pretty happy. I was just grabbed her and was on the ground. I was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" But yeah, she was fine. She was unscathed. She was.
Right.
Yeah, she just must have went walkabouts.
There you go.
Crazy
Yeah.
thing.
Great story.
Crazy
story.
story. Love that story. But speaking of losing things, well, you lose everything.
Yeah,
but
I do.
I'm not going into that. I'm actually steering this in a different direction.
Yeah.
Jenna Lawson Tavern, who's actually, she plays at the Falcons, but she's been training with us through the pre-season as a train-on actually. But there was one day where she lost something. She lost her handbag on a Mad Monday.
Yes.
This year, you and I were both playing at Darebin. Do you remember that story quite well? You were dressed as
Freddie Mercury.
and properly dressed, isn't he?
Yeah,
The full white get-up.
Yeah.
The mustache.
Yeah.
But
The sock in the pants.
Yeah, you were doing it well. But can
Yeah.
you tell us a lovely story? Can you tell it?
Yeah, I can tell it. Anyway. We all had our bags just in one spot, and this guy ended up taking her bag, and she was calling a phone, and he answered, and he's like, "Yeah, you lost your bag, like I've got it, you can come get it." And she's like, "I'm not coming to get it, you bring it here." Anyway, long story short, we went to go pick up the bag.
But he was like a real weirdo. He was
he was strange, wasn't he?
Yeah, when he was calling, he's like, "Yeah, but just you come at the pub. I'll meet you down this side street."
Yeah.
Alarm
Come
bells.
by yourself, yeah.
And like he'd stolen her bag, but was then willing to meet back up. But wanted it was weird. It was dodgy.
Was strange.
Yeah, and this would have been like late on a Saturday night.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Brunswick kind of area.
Yeah. Anyway, we took Jano. And
And
I
for
went-
everyone listening, this is Jano, Melbourne.
Yeah,
Jane
Melbourne
Lange.
Jano, Coach Jano. And I went as well because I'd just gotten kicked out of the pub. So I thought I'd come for a little walk. And yeah, I was hiding in the bushes while they were talking to this guy. And anyway, he tried to give back a phone. And she's like, this isn't my phone. And he's like, oh, too bad. And then started running away. And then, yeah, so I jumped out of the bushes and started chasing after him.
Dressed as Freddie Mercury.
And like tackled him to the ground. And yeah, I had him like in a headlock. And Jano's like, Gabby, you don't want to kill him. And I was like, give him your phone back. And anyway, this lady came running out of the house, and it was his girlfriend, and she was abusing him, saying like, this is what you get for stealing people's stuff. And yeah, anyway, we got the phone back and everything was all good after that. We walked back to the party and they convinced the pub to let me back in because I'd sobered up and saved the day. So yeah, that was it.
But then I think so after him being like trying to run away from the situation, and then gathered in like back in the pub, we were like, let's just have a drink and settle down and laugh about this. And then about 10 minutes later, the same guy walked back into the pub, and everyone like stands up and like puffs out their chest going, what is this guy doing? And he just looks at us and goes, forgot my jacket. Picks up a jacket and walks back out of the pub.
Oh, what an absolute troll.
That's a fantastic story. There's not much we can go up from there. Let's do a little secret sound because we have a winner.
We do have a winner. Very exciting. He got in touch via Twitter, and the sound is the magnet going onto the whiteboard.
Get out of town.
Yeah. That is a very good guess.
Yep.
Yeah, in the coach's room.
So
every player's got a magnet. Everyone's got a spot on the board.
Yeah.
And well done, Patrick.
Patrick's done incredibly well.
That's
Only
unreal.
one clue 3 weeks into the podcast that has dropped. So incredible effort. We're going to be back next week with a new secret sound and a new $100 Sporting Globe voucher to be won.
Yeah, Patrick just ruined the game for everyone,
Yeah,
so we're
he
going to
did.
have to start again.
Yeah, make it a little bit harder, I think. Just before we get to a break and hear from a very special guest, we do need to give a key word to the fans. For those that have been listening to all 3 episodes, they'd know that you can go in the draw to win a signed jumper at the end of the year. Lil, can you give a word this week that's not related to me, please?
Not read to you. It's called mountain. Mountain is the word this week.
Fair enough. We're in
There's
the
a
mountain
mountain on the room that we're sitting in, just on the mirror. There's a big mountain there, so mountain's a word.
Well done. All right,
Nice.
We're going to be back in just a moment.
It's the 2020 AFLW semi-final. There's 1 minute to go. The D's are down by 3 points. Snap to inside 50. Oh no, it's a mongrel kick. Mithen marks. '21 is all about kicking goals. Thanks to Zurich Insurance and Tackle Your Feelings mental health training program, every goal kicked can give your club a chance to win a junior footy prize pack. So all you need to do is tell us why your local footy club should win.
Welcome back to Lil and Ben. Now, to say the quality of guests on this podcast have improved would be an understatement, because last week we had our performance manager, Dave Regan, who is probably...
Who was no good, let's be honest.
Yeah.
He really let us down
He's the
last
most
week.
immature person I've ever met, and he was in a bad mood. But now we've got a great of the broadcasting industry, Sam Lane. Sam, thanks very much for your time.
I'm so chuffed. Thank you for that intro. I don't believe a word of it, Ben, but this isn't a reputable podcast, so I'm going to go with it. And hi, Gabby and Lil.
Now, first things first, you are jumping on a Melbourne-based podcast. I know you're a big AFL fan. Does that mean your allegiances are with the D's now?
Oh, way to put a girl on the spot. Allegiance. I would say one of the keys to journalism, as I was taught, is that you should just try to be independent, form your views not on biases or what you grow up with. And so therefore I have many favourite sporting clubs, athletes, etc., and they are not all in one place. So I have many favourites in Melbourne. I just don't really tell them.
Come on, Sam. No, I'm not copying that.
Yeah, I've been taught the same thing, but I don't believe it.
Sure, Lily Mithen's on the list, that's for sure. And, Gabby too.
Well, I was thinking that you got me after the game on the weekend, so I was thinking I was definitely high up on Sam's leaderboard of favourite people and characters in the AFLW.
Well, I think you make me look tall, which is that has been pointed out before, Lil, and we've done a bit of work together with Channel 7 and also not on Channel 7, and we do know that you're very good with the mic. So it's, I don't know, it's a good place to go. And you had a ripper game. So only that that machine, Karen Paxman, I reckon was ahead of you. And I mean, it was also an awesome performance by you guys, given everything that you went through to even get to the start line.
Don't pump her tyres too much. Sam, how do you find Lily to interview? Because I think when she's talking footy, she gets a bit into that key messages sort of spitting at you, a bit boring sometimes. She knows how to say the right things.
Well, I mean, if you want my honest opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, give it.
I think Lil is one of the best people to have around a microphone, colourful, herself, etc. But you're right, Ben. I think you've tapped into something here. There's a game day face, Lil, and I definitely, if we sort of rewound to that post-match interview, I think it's fair to say, Lil, you're in game day mode, and yeah, it was probably straight face to the point, Lil.
Well, I'm very serious. As we all know, I'm very serious. Game day is a serious event and you have to act accordingly. Am I right?
Yes.
You do. A couple of cliches in there, Lou.
Oh, yeah. Cliches all day long.
So now, Sam, I'm not sure if you remember, about 4 years ago, you did a Darebin season launch.
Yes, I do remember. I lost a raincoat that day, and I've got a terrible memory, but I remember that because I really liked that coat.
Oh, that's a shame.
Gabby actually wore it to the club today.
Yeah, no, fits me really well. Like, I thought it'd be a bit too small for me, but fits me like a glove. Now, I was just wondering, on that day, were you a little bit hungover? You looked a bit dusty.
What happened the night before? Vague recollection. Don't know. Did I disclose that I was? Just fill me in.
You just looked a bit under the weather. And you were fashionably late to that as well.
Gabby ran this question by me beforehand. I thought, should we go hard at her early? I thought, yeah, let's do it. Let's put her on the spot.
I'm all for it. Maybe that's why I lost the coat. Maybe I lost it the night before. I don't know what was going on at the time in my life. I remember liking the function. I certainly wasn't drinking at Darebin. Have I ever been hungover in my life? Well, yes. So, I mean, it's possible. How was my performance though, Gabby?
You did really well. Okay? It was very memorable.
You're a true professional, Sam. What sort of research do you do before a game? Like on the weekend, do you have any dirt on these girls just in case you need to throw something at a Gabby Colvin?
Well, on a serious note, for a tick, I was sort of reflecting over the first round of AFLW as the games played out that there were all these kind of headlines coming out of, capsicum spray and all sorts of things in the AFL men's world. And I was like, when are we ever going to hear a headline like that in AFL women's? Will there ever be a day? I don't have dirt. And I wouldn't be necessarily digging for it either, but that's probably way too serious an answer for where you were going. The way I research, I guess, is to do as much reading as I can. I let you know, Ben, before we started recording here, that one of the things I did before your game on the weekend was watch a piece that you'd done with Libby Birch that was on the website. The websites now are just full of gems, and so I take... Anyone who's worked with me would know I take 1,000 notes and then I hardly even look at them, and I suppose, trust the process that I've written it down, have read it in some capacity, and that maybe at some point it will come up. But dirt digging, I'm not going too well with that with AFLW players because I'm not sure how much real dirt there is, and I'm quite happy with that.
Maybe start listening
keep it that way.
to this podcast. We seem to find a little bit. I'll hit you with one more serious one before we let you go. It is Pride Round this weekend. Do you find it quite special to have the AFLW be a part of all of these different events?
It's one of the things that I love most, and there are so many. We'd need a series of podcasts or a very long time to talk about all the things that I love about AFLW and that makes me feel like I'm sort of in my happiest place in footy. Pride Round is just one of them. I mean, to call it a round is almost to trivialise it because it's not just a one match or two match or however many matches we're theming movement. It's a general, I'd say, foundation actually of AFL women's, and it's something that I think AFL men's could really look and learn from. And I don't doubt that men's wants to, or it's just that the culture of men's has been so much more homogenous and a conformist culture. With AFL women's, what I find is just the natural starting point for it is that come one, come all, everyone is welcome. And in fact, any difference you have is embraced rather than something that is sort of chipped off someone, that really typical Aussie culture of just like chipping off the difference in people so that they're similar. And I really see that. I've detected that, I guess covering AFL men's for 15 or so years the way that I did. In women's, it's almost like the opposite. And I know that men who work in women's really appreciate that about women's. And if you were asking me to give a Pride Round wish, I wish that the entire AFL, everyone was more like that.
That is a fantastic answer. Sam, thanks very much for your time. We'll let you go, but really appreciate your insights.
Thank you so much for having me, and go D's.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, Sam.
Sam Lane, great to hear from a great character of our game. We've got one more segment before we wrap things up, and that is Fine of the Week. Lil, what have you got for us?
I've got a good one this week. Gab, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it also. Fine of the week is going to go to Libby Birch. Libby Birch arrives at the airport Saturday morning with some horrendous compression socks.
Oh my gosh.
They, our Reegs, who we all met last week, he sort of said to everyone, if you want to wear compression tights or whatever, it's good to travel in. But Libby decided she'd go like the stocking version. So she had these white sort of meshy...
They're like bed socks. They look like bed socks, or like... She just had like an operation, and
I reckon more operation.
Operation.
Pulled up all the way over to her knee.
Yeah.
And then just had shorts on. So there was like an awkward
little gap of skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The gap of skin across the quad, and just horrendous socks. So I'm not sure about that, but that's definitely a hefty fine.
What I found interesting was then on the way home, she pulled them back out and she was wearing her slides. So they were demon slides. So it had like DEM on one and then ONS on the other. And then you could see her toes. And the socks cut off like halfway down the foot.
Oh, wow.
And
So
you
they're
could
just like
see her
sleeves.
toes.
Wow.
that was even worse.
Yeah.
So-
I'm not sure where you get them, but I'm not plugging it, and
The hospital.
steer clear. Yeah, the hospital.
Well, as long as it helps to get the win. We've got a big game this Saturday, 5:10 at Casey Fields against Richmond. You must be keen to get back on the home deck.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. It was a bit of an awkward moment thinking, are we going to play or not, with a couple of COVID things stepping into place.
scary.
But can't wait to get out to Casey. It's an awesome facility out there.
Yeah.
Girls really excited. Great crowd, hopefully. So,
Deck's good too.
and every time we've trained out there, believe it or not, it has been dead still, no wind.
No wind.
So
Well-
Fingers crossed, no rain.
Fingers crossed. It's a good afternoon.
Well, looking forward to that one. Gabby, thanks very much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
See you again next week.
Big
See you
fan.
next week.